Wall Street tumbles to its worst day since April after Trump threatens more tariffs on China. I know Bitcoin is also down about, 6 or 7%. And it's a great buying opportunity, in my opinion. You don't have to take that advice, but that's just me. Alex, are the panicans just panicking again? Is that what's going on here?
Well, I think Trump has a very obvious playbook with all of this stuff. I don't think there's actually going to be tariffs on China, and if there is, it's not going to last too long. It's very obvious that every couple months, he just likes to threaten it. He likes to drop the market. I mean, the smart people following this, I think, are very lucky. I mean, this is a great buying opportunity. I certainly bought some today. And, every couple months, he kind of announces something, everything drops, people buy it up, and then it goes back up, and it's kind of just a cycle that I think is going to go on for the next 3 years. So I'm excited about it. I don't think there's going to be any tariffs on China.
Yeah, well, it seems like the S&P sank 2.7% and the Nasdaq's down 3.6% because I believe what Trump said was he was going to add another 100% of tariffs on top of China. And but I don't know. I mean, Phil, I know you've had this argument a lot. Like, are the tariffs working? Has the strategy worked? Were the experts wrong about the situation?
So it's my opinion that because there hasn't been a significant increase in prices, prices have gone up a little bit, but there's still some inflation in the economy. I think largely the tariffs have worked. Mostly, I guess, if I understand correctly, not that I'm an economist, but mostly it's been essentially a return to zero because of the difference between the dollar and other currencies. Again, I'm not an economist, so don't quote me. I could be wrong, but it does seem like for the most part there hasn't been the significant increase in prices. Anytime there's big negative news, which Donald Trump talking about 100% tariff on China, that would be received as big negative news. There are people that are going to be day traders or whatever. They're going to sell some. But you said it was a 2% dip. Was the overall dip?
It depends on the
Nasdaq.
The Nasdaq had 3.8%.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about a few percent. And to be honest with you, so you're talking about a handful of percent. And like right now, like the stock market has been hitting all-time highs every couple days. So if it dips a little bit, if this is not the end of the world, people shouldn't be concerned. People shouldn't be worried. It's just a little bit of a correction. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if come Monday there's even more of a correction. But again, that's not a reason to sell all your stocks and light your hair on fire. It's at all-time highs. There's a small correction, and it's possible
that's the time to buy, man. I mean, you need that little correction every once in a while. But Trump actually brought this up in the Oval Office today.
Besides, software could be on the table in terms of export controls.
A lot more. I mean, you have software, but you have a lot more. We have airplanes. We have airplane parts. You remember that from last time. And we were just surprised that China have a very good relationship with President Xi, and they did that. This is not something that I, instigated. This was just a response to something that they did. And they didn't really aim it at us. They aimed it at the whole world. The whole world is subject to it. So I thought it was very, very bad. But we have many things, including a big thing is airplane. They have a lot of Boeing planes, and they need parts and lots of things like that.
So he's talking about China announcing, I think it was today or yesterday, that they're going to be increasing their outgoing costs on rare earth minerals.
Correct.
Okay. Well, that's, I guess, what you get with a tariff war. I've noticed my coconut water that I normally buy at $30 is like $40, and that Ollipops went from $21 to $28.
It's probably because of inflation, though, not because of a tariff.
It was a huge jolt, though. It was a real extreme 30% increase in cost, and it was just on those two products I've noticed so far. But the one was like a week ago, the coconut water, or 2 weeks ago, and the Ollipop was about 4 months ago.
Are they made in China?
I don't know. I don't know if the metals or if there's some shipping involved in the tariffing. I mean, the economy cannot grow forever. I don't think economies ever have grown forever. They go until they fall apart. And with the U.S. inflation now at $37 trillion, I posted today, I think what's going to happen what's that? The national debt. Yeah, the national debt's at $37.5 trillion or something and counting. What'll happen if we don't increase the value of our GDP is that there will be a hyperinflation like Weimar Germany saw, and that people left holding the cryptocurrency will be the ones with actual value, and it'll become like a debt slave society.
Yeah, like let the speculators sweat. I mean, if they can't handle a structural reset where Trump's trying to like rug pull cheap foreign labor, like that's on them. This is why he dubbed the term panicking, because like, the Wall Street debt pyramid can't handle these structural resets, and it's like, so be it. I'd say let them panic.
And your point about the growth, right? That's what's kept inflation in check for the past 15 or so years, or since 2008 when they had went down to 0% interest rates after the housing bubble, is the fact that there was growth. Every time there was a threat of a reset in the stock market, the Fed would talk about raising interest rates, the stock market would react, and then they'd go ahead and they wouldn't raise interest rates, and then the stock market would continue to grow. As long as you've got growth in the economy, our economy is big enough where, to be honest with you, the $37 trillion can be handled. It's too much, and they need to do something about the spending, but it's not going to be an existential crisis. But if we don't have that growth, if they don't have pro-American, pro-growth policies, then you're going to have serious problems with the economy.
And there's two ways you can get growth. You can either literally increase the value of the things that you're making, or you can reduce the cost that it requires to get those things made. And so AI is going to basically subvert slave labor. We're going to be able to compete with Chinese slave labor with the automation of sectors of our economy. And then obviously I harp on the fuel, like we can, reinvigorate our fuel economy by introducing hydrogen and petroleum hybrid states. And then you can get the hydrogen at a 50th of the cost of petroleum. So that would then reduce the cost going in, and then therefore the GDP would be higher. That would be another way to circle. It'd still say 37 trillion on paper, but the value of the dollar would be worth so much more because it could buy so much more because things are so much cheaper that it wouldn't really matter. The number itself doesn't really matter. It's more about the ratio.
Yeah, so I want to read this truth for some context here, just because I'd rather read it from what Trump is saying rather than read it from what AP says Trump says. It has just been learned that China has taken an extraordinarily aggressive position on trade in sending an extremely hostile letter to the world, stating that they were going to, effective November 1st, impose large-scale export controls on virtually every product they make, and some not even made by them. This affects all countries without exception, and was obviously a plan devised by them years ago. It is absolutely unheard of in international trade and a moral disgrace in dealing with other nations. Based on the fact that China has taken this unprecedented position and speaking only for the USA and not other nations who were similarly threatened, starting November 1st, 2025, or sooner, depending on any further actions or changes taken by China, the United States of America will impose a tariff of 100% on China, over and above any tariff that they are currently paying. Also on November 1st, we will impose export controls on any and all critical software. It is impossible to believe that China would have taken such an action, but they have, and the rest is history. Thank you for your attention to this matter. President Donald J. Trump of the United States of America. Ian, a lot of these things that President Trump, back in his first term, he put tariffs on China, right, which were widely criticized by the Democrats. But Joe Biden came into office and then kept those tariffs, right? So, I mean, it seems like they're working. I mean, I don't know how high that number can possibly get. You think Trump keeps up with this? You think he actually follows through with this, or do you think he backs down?
He might do it. I don't know if he'll keep it held, though. The Chinese are ultimately our potentially greatest trade partner, whether you agree with their government style or not. And I think they want Taiwan, and they're going to wait for the United States to migrate its chip production offshore back onto the mainland so that there's no war when they take it from us. But this pressure that it's built through economic tariffing, I was going to call it economic disaster. It's like big dick swinging. Like they got, that's what they got. They don't want to fight, so they're pushing each other's economy around. It's tough to say whether it'll stick or not. I can't take another 34% increase in the coconut water that I'm buying. I tell you that much.
Oh, the humanity.
Yeah.
Oh, it's horrible.
No one feels bad for you.
I need to get healthy, man. Don't make it hard, Don. So
no one feels
at some point they'll come back down. I just don't know.
No,
if it's
there's no guarantee they're coming back down.
It's a new paradigm in the second term. I mean, it's really funny, first of all, to outline that for the longest time, the Democrats were the pro-tariff party and the Republicans were the anti-tariff party. So you've had this reorientation just under Trump, where now the Democrats are like all of a sudden these like free market absolutists, and the Republican Party is like, hey, tariffs. Trump called himself tariff man famously. And even between the first term and the second term is a massive difference. Like the first term, I think it was Larry Kudlow is like his economic advisor, huge booster. And he was like, look, whatever you want about Trump, whatever you like about Trump, one thing you have to admit is he like brings in this rock star economy. And what he was referring to was the GDP constantly going up. Well, now Trump's kind of taken this new posture in the second term of like, hey, reshoring manufacturing is actually going to take like a tariff regime. There's just no way around it. So these GDP must go up. People are like panicking because they're like, wait, no, we were promised this rock star economy. And what they mean by that is just GDP goes up, whether that means mass immigration has to be part of this implementation, if free trade, no tariffs is part of that. And it's like, Trump's like, no, America first, and you're going to have to implement some of these policies to get that done.
I don't think that it's realistic to think that there's going to be massive onshoring of jobs that have left. Right. I think that Trump is aware of that as well. And as for the need for immigration to cover those jobs, I think automation is going to cover that within the next 5 years. I just saw a video today from, I forget the company, but we're a year or two away from humanoid robots being available in homes to do things like do your dishes and fold your laundry.
Yeah.
Right? Like they're probably available. There's companies that's putting them out right now, but I think it's only a couple of years before the average family is like, oh, $24,000, so $4,000 down and $500 a month for 48 months, and then I don't have to do laundry or the dishes ever again. Hell yeah, I don't need a second car. We need a robot. Because that's really what'll happen. Is it'll be, the banks will love it because they'll finance that. The thing is an actual physical product in the world, so it's not like a student loan where or credit card stuff where there's nothing, there's nothing that's considered collateral, so you could repo the robot. In fact, to be honest with you, if you want the robot back, they could probably just send a message to the Wi-Fi, and the robot just walks the hell out of your house, to repo it. So that kind of stuff is in the cards in the very near future. And I think that the productivity that we need to handle the debt that we have and hopefully bring it down some is totally realistic in a without mass immigration.
Yeah, well, no, you're totally right too. Is like, unfortunately, I think we need to kind of maybe not give up, but kind of get a bit more realistic. Like, hey, we're not going to get these manufacturing jobs back in like Dearborn or Flint. Like that's just not going to happen. But when these jobs are reshoring, they are going to red states. They're going to South Carolina. They're going to Tennessee, Alabama, these sorts of things. And so it's like, okay, reshoring is not going to look like this revitalization of all these Rust Belt towns like we initially maybe hoped or wanted. But these jobs still will come back. And then like you were saying, it's going to be new technologies really that are going to drive sort of the retooling of our manufacturing base, because we are like, heavily dependent on services. And if we want to compete with China, you're going to actually have to start building stuff in the United States, and we're going to have to embrace a lot of these new technologies.
You can actually, the way they figured out at Rice University how to create the graphene by electrocuting carbon, they get the hydrogen gas, they get this bulk graphene powder. You can put it into the bitumen in the roads, and the roads last like 6 times longer. So not only are you reducing the cost of upkeeping the roads, you're producing a better quality product. So it's these kinds of reindustrializations. I mean, the carbon industry, the way you can turn coal and oil into graphene and use it for computational machinery, you can use it for lighter than steel buildings, stronger than steel buildings. It really is. We're prepped. Like a lot of times you'll see like countries that you would consider third world, when they finally get to the main stage, they just adopt whatever technology is right now. They don't go through the process of like, well, let's get the horse and buggy and then let's develop an automobile. They just go right to solar panels and like Wi-Fi. And so we're about to see a reindustrialization along those lines of just modern AI optimization. Right. And it'll probably happen within like 15 years.
Yeah, you see companies like Foxconn and stuff in China that have just totally. I think they got rid of like 60,000 jobs to have like AI robots replace them. Essentially, like the robots are going to be doing all the work, and like I think that's a good thing, because now we don't have a slave labor going on with like these suicide nets to catch people that are tired of doing this insane monotonous job. So it's going to change, like you said. What you're talking about is like a rebuilding, essentially, of like you usually have like a war and you rebuild from scratch. Here, what we're going to be doing is revitalizing, like you said, building like the U.S. has the means and the ability to revitalize things like our roads. We have the need to, like our roads, our bridges, all of our public works and stuff like that, with this new concrete that you're talking about, with the ability to maybe even put solar and all these things in places where we maybe need it. Like we were in Phoenix the other day. Putting solar on all those roofs would be something that we should be doing, not like relying on energy generation via hydroelectric power in the desert. That's crazy. So I think you're right. I think that's what people are also missing about this too, is that like everything's going to shift in a different way. It's not going to be like the jobs they're missing. Like you said, we already rely on service in this economy. There's just going to have to be a reimagination. It's going to have to happen sooner than later, because it's going to be affecting the entire world
Nick,
at large.
If you want, I just tagged you on X with a comment underneath the post of it's basically Figure is the company, and it goes through the robots just sitting there. It's Figure_robot on X if you want to find it, Serge. And it goes through a demonstration.
You put on his page?
I just tweeted at him, so I didn't put it on his page.
Go to Phil's page and hit replies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it goes through. I mean, the robot is currently doing things like, unloading the dishwasher, folding your clothes, taking care of the groceries and stuff like that. Right there.
Cleaning the cat's litter box.
Probably.
Don't have to get near that toxoplasmosis.
No.
This one?
Yeah, that's the one. Jump to like halfway through so you can see the.
Oh, okay.
'Cause, it's all like checked out.
Oh, look at that guy.
Yeah. But I mean, it's now. This is functional now. Like, this isn't in the future. This is something that's possible now. And people that say, oh, this is still a long way away. Remember, your Tesla that can drive, that's AI. And the technology that this is built on is based on things like the ability to navigate intersections with, Sirius, with a bunch of cars coming. I mean, my Tesla has no problem doing rotaries. Most people I know get stumped at a rotary, and my Tesla can handle it perfectly fine.
Yeah, and one of the things that people would always say is that trades are, going to be safe from AI, like HVAC technicians, electricians, and stuff. I mean, you look at this, Phil. Do you think that this is a real threat in the near future to jobs like that?
Maybe, and the reason I say maybe is because I don't know how dexterous these things are going to be and how
that's one of the most
they're gonna
difficult
be.
parts is
Yeah.
making the hands actually.
Yeah, and look, I mean, these things can learn anything from a download, right? So they'll know how to do that stuff. I imagine they might be an assistant with a human watching over them at first, but I think within the next 10 years they'll be able to do anything that a human can do. Remember, and the reason why they're making them humanoid is because we live in a human-shaped world, right? Everything that we design is built for us. So maybe you don't have an electric car that has AI in it, but you have a regular car. Well, you buy one of those, and then you can send it to the grocery store, and it'll do it for you. It'll get in your car, drive your car, because it knows how to do everything that all the other AIs know how to do. And that's really the difference right now is having the ability to navigate the world that we live in. But they're making humanoid shapes because we live in a human-shaped world.
And they're actually developing magnetic slime robots. I'm looking at it right now. Soft robots made of polyvinyl alcohol, borax, and neodymium magnet particles. So that, like, you want it to clean your HVAC, you send the amoeba up in that, and it just slimes through there, cleaning every aspect of it for you. And it'll be able to go into your plumbing and like clean out your pipes for you, and you'll be able to control it or not. It'll control itself. Depends on the system.
Yeah. What was that article that everybody was making fun of that said that by the year 2025 humans would be
women would be having more sex with robots than with humans.
We still have 2 months. We still have 2 months.
Still have 2 months.
Yeah.
It's looking like we're pretty close now. I don't know if I would have sex with that thing, but
To be fair, like realistically, like the massager is technically a robot, so they probably already are.
I mean, dude, okay, yeah. Spend a little time alone at the Roomba and see how you feel, These things happen. Sometimes things get a little wacky and wild. I don't know.
Ethically, Alex, I'll ask you, since you spent a lot of time hunting down, I guess, pedophiles in your life, if someone that had identified as a pedophile decided, no, I'm going to get a small child-like robot and do that, are you okay with that transition?
Well, I do believe in thought crimes when it comes to pedophilia, because I think anybody that will do it on a robot has that thought will do it on a kid. Because the thing is with that, it's not really just them getting their rocks off specifically. They like the dominance aspect of it. Like, they like controlling another human being. So if it's just AI porn or some kid robot, it's just not enough for them. And they're always going to go on to the next thing. So I think giving them an inch with any pedophilic tendencies is always going to lead in a bad direction. I mean, shit, we caught a guy just this past month, Brandon Creason, in Center, Texas. He came into the Sting House. He got naked. He was wearing a furry mask. He was into baby porn. He was into his youngest infants and toddlers. He's trading it around. Very, very into child molestation, and he had a little sex doll that was like infant size, like I guess kid size, not infant sized. So it wasn't enough to satiate himself. He got in a 2-hour Uber ride and came into the Sting House and is now going to spend probably the next couple decades in prison. So
thank goodness.
Yeah. So no, there's no with those people, it's a whole different thing, and I think. I think giving it to incels as well, just giving adult sex dolls to them, I don't know if that'll satiate them either. I think human connection, there's nothing that can replace that.
Yeah, well, we'll get into this next story here in a second, but I do want to mention the fact that you're here for not just for the show, but you were here making a catch, weren't you?
Yeah, earlier today we were in Augusta County, Virginia. We got a sex offender arrested named Jasper Morris, who's currently has 28 years over his head on a suspended sentence for a very similar crime. So he violated probation today, obviously, and got charged with 6 felonies from our evidence. And he's going to go to prison for, I estimate, probably over 30 years this time around. So
some people, like when we talk about pornography, people think of it as like an out. Some people might think of it as an outlet. Other people might think of it as just making the problem worse, like sexual deviancy worse. Do you have a take on porn and what it does to the human?
Kind of just gave it.
Psyche?
Well, dude, I think it is worse because I don't know if more child molestation goes down per capita as it did back then. It probably does, but you know, with the internet now, it gives pedophiles a 24/7 window to offend. Versus back in the day, you know, you're shunned. You're like, I have these feelings. Maybe I should hold it down. Maybe I shouldn't do this. But with the internet, you're 2 clicks away from finding a forum of all these people who agree with you, of all these people who also want to do the same thing. So it normalizes it for you and makes it okay in their minds. So I think pornography is a horrible path towards that. And if it was up to me, I'd ban it all.
Yeah. We've had this conversation, or at least I have, over the past 10 days about police departments and their willingness to arrest people and not arrest people and such. Like, what's your experience been dealing with some of these police departments? I mean, I feel like maybe the FBI and local sheriff's departments and stuff should be handling a lot of the work that you're doing, but they're not. Why is that?
Well, you know, I would say a lot of them are doing it. It's just there's so many pedophiles that we've done hundreds of these over the past 6 years, and maybe 10 of them have had a concurrent police investigation with it, with the cops already being on them. So there's just too many of them. But yeah, you know, and the cops have to worry about a lot of other shenanigans from a lot of other people nowadays too. So it sucks. But I wish there was more money into this or more time into this, but there's not. So.
Yeah, but in these deep blue districts, say these, if you're going into districts with like Soros DAs and such, do you have problems actually getting these people prosecuted?
Oh, 100%. You know, we have 2 arrests in my home county of Harris County, where Houston is, and that's all Sorosed out. You know, we had a guy in Houston, Luke Bolin, a couple years ago, and he was willing to drive to Amarillo, Texas, which is a red area, and that's 9 hours away in the Panhandle. And I'm like, all right, screw it. I live in Amarillo. So instead of getting him 30 minutes from my house, I got him 9 hours away from home just to get him prosecuted. And he's doing 5 years right now in Texas. So
yeah. So typically, when you call the police over, this is very interesting, and because it's you do great work, man. I'm just letting you know. I'm a big fan of the stuff that you do. I actually binge watched you the other day on YouTube, which is interesting. But but some of these times you can have the raw evidence in front of you.
Yeah.
And you show the cops, and they still won't make the arrest.
Oh, it's baffling. I don't know what it is with sex crimes and cops' ego sometimes. Like, if I had evidence of a guy robbing a store and I had him on camera admitting that he robbed the store, the cops will be like, you know, that's God's work, son. We're going to give you an award for this. But when it comes to, like, pedophilia, some cops are like, no, you're not law enforcement. We can't take this evidence. So I don't understand it, but most cops are good, I'd say, so...
Yeah, well, it's typically it ends up being the DAs that are the problem. I mean, some of these cops just won't make arrests because they don't think that they can actually, you know, get any get the person prosecuted.
Yeah. There's a lot of problem DAs in the country for sure.
But why not that's one of the things that I've wondered for the longest time. What is stopping police departments from? Dude, you are like constantly catching people everywhere. It's a nonstop business.
Yeah.
So what are they doing wrong? Has anybody ever asked you for help? Any police department come to you and been like, "Hey, can you help us?"
There's been a few, but it's been mostly smaller counties. Like earlier this year, Crowley County, Colorado. You know, we did a guy there. God, I forgot his name. He was actually. God, I forgot that idiot's name. But basically, he was kind of plugged to us to go investigate, and within a few days, he ends up meeting for sex in Ordway, Colorado, with who he thinks is a 13-year-old girl. Because there's been accusations on him before, so you know they accepted our help pretty willingly. So shout out to Crowley County, Colorado. Very small county though, but any really big cities, they have not reached out to us for help. No.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.